Something happened yesterday. Remember, I promised you that I was going to take you on my little outing and trip and show you what I get up to. Now, I am going to share that, but I thought I'd do that in a full video tomorrow. What I want to talk to you about today is the emotional thing I went through and realized that you might be going through the same thing. So, I packed up all my little things, this little book, this watercolor brush, well, not watercolor brush, water brush, this palette, this spray bottle to wet my paint, and I could easily put just these two things on the table at the coffee shop and paint. My idea was to sit outside because I knew the place we were going to, Franklin and Co. or Food Co. on Franklin, something like that in Terrelgan, was the place I wanted to be, and I knew they had an outdoor seating area. And while I was standing here, I noticed that it was almost raining, that it was full to the brim, except for outside, but it was also cold, and I don't like the cold. And you know what happened? When I stepped inside and realized how full it was, a past shame popped up, and I instantly felt fearful. Look there, fearful. Now, if you've been following along and you have a copy of this I Am Human Through the Color Wheel of Emotion, you'll know that I often talk about moving from this dark place where you are contracted and stricken and tight into a heart space. I call this love and above. And then expanding if you want to go beyond that. Now, I found myself in this fearful place, and even though I had courage and I was aware of the things I was going through, I didn't have a willingness to sit there at that small little table, which was literally about double this size. So it was this wide and it was this high, or it was a little square this size. And I shared the table with one of my friends and my daughter, and everything that was clustered in the middle, I moved to that back seat. So while I was sitting there, I just couldn't open my handbag. My handbag was on my lap for a couple of minutes as I contemplated, where am I going to put everything? And when my teapot and my cup and saucer come, where is everything going to fit? And instantly I decided I'm not going to open up my little sketchbook in that crowded public place and continue our little journey from yesterday. Now, what I basically wanted to do was just go on and create this double spread so that it can fit into each other. But I had an idea like this. So what I should have done on the day, right when I was there, so I've sprayed the palette, my colors are activated. I could have gone ahead and just in that moment sat and created the second part of the little pattern. Now, that doesn't have to stay as a squiggle or a wave or a whatever. It could turn into a positive statement like love flows here. And if I didn't want anyone to see what I was writing, I could use my asemic writing technique. Now that is where you think what you're going to write, and then you use like writing marks and writing the words continuously. So harsh, sharp, up and down movements with corners are very strong, angry, masculine. And then your more wavy, round ones are more feminine. So it depends on what you have to say and how you want to express yourself. You could either go for squiggly lines, or you can go for the actual words that flow into each other. And just that little simple process. And now that I've done it, do you think you would like to do some of these practices? Whether it's one of those color blobs, or actually painting something, or trying the loose florals, or even the imaginative landscapes, or just putting color into a space to surround your heart, and to notice the golden threads that run in our lives. I often talk about these golden threads. And the golden threads, you don't have to do it with gold, but the golden threads are there to help you see that everything in life is connected. It's like that Japanese technique, kintsugi or kintsuguroi, urushitsugi, is referred to as the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery. Now, that mending process is what we go through every single day of our lives. You are really not broken. What might be happening is that you don't know how to fix that thing that feels like it is broken. And even though I didn't pull out my little sketchbook yesterday at that coffee shop, I did something amazing. And that is get out of the studio, see a little bit of my surroundings, explore new things, and then finding myself in the flow, of what my life needs to look like, and in the flow of what my heart desires, and in the flow with friends, having connections. And you know what? It turned out that my friend and my daughter were both yearning for the same thing I was. We were yearning for connection. We were yearning for friendship. We were yearning to just get out a little bit and do something that doesn't feel like our daily routine, that doesn't feel hard and stagnant, but that was easy to do, fun to be in that moment, and to see things we wouldn't have seen otherwise. Like these ducks sitting in a tree. I never knew ducks sat in trees. In my mind, ducks were these frumpy little waddly puddle ducks that waddled their way on land and paddled through the ponds. But yesterday I saw them in that tree that I just showed you, and that was an eye opener. If a duck could change its habits and live in trees and have fun there and explore and keep themselves in safety, the main point is they and us were out of our comfort zones, doing things we wouldn't do normally or ordinarily. And for that period of time, all of the fear went away. And I could actually laugh at myself that I didn't just push past all those past fears and put my sketchbook on the table. I didn't have to open it just yet. I could have just put it down there. Forced myself, but I could have put it there, and maybe I would have felt the urge to open the sketchbook. And maybe if I just took that first step to have it there out in the open, I would have noticed that nobody even glanced our way. Everybody was busy with their own things. They were busy in their own minds. They were busy in their own thoughts and in their own ways. And what a pity that we are not making time in our lives or room in our lives to notice the world around us. There is so much to experience if we just opened our eyes to what is right there around us. I was mesmerized by the greens and the browns and the blends of colors as the snow covered the ground, as it crackled under my feet, and as I noticed colors in this winter landscape that I've never noticed before. Looking closer to see the shapes, the intricate details of plants and life happening underneath the snow. And back home in the garden to notice that the cold didn't affect that as much. I could gather memories and bring everything back into my sketchbook, filled with inspiration, detail, color, and nature, to just fill my own cup. Full moment, simplicity, easy, flow. Why do we have to always make things so difficult? Why do we always have to cling to those past hurts? And I don't have all the answers for you, but I know that the next time I'm going to go out on a date with myself, I've also promised myself to get back into that artist date habit. I did read The Artist Way a couple of years ago, and I'm slowly but surely making my way through it again. And I think that's why all these changes are happening, is because I had to remind myself again of what I really wanted in life. What do I want my life to look like? And I know that creativity and art and expression has always been part of my life. I was a hairstylist for 26 years. Now, a hairstylist is a little bit different to a hairdresser because a hairstylist also does makeup, stage work, events and event coordination, and blah, 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 blah. All the lovely couture things. And I do miss that sometimes. But I do not miss standing on my feet all day. I do not miss that corporate rush. I do not miss the long, tedious hours. And I do not miss people's rude moods, because I had my fair share of moody clients, and I don't want that in my life. I do not want other people's negativity imprinting on me, and I do not want any of the things associated with the industry I was in, because I learned things about the practices and the way people are actually treated, the way models starve themselves, and the things that could go wrong when you are trying to help people on the outside, but their insides are not in the same space. There are clients that I've had as friends for almost 30 years, and I will always treasure them and remember our good times. But having choices and being able to choose what comes next, or how you're going to add that lovely hobby that you've been neglecting. It doesn't have to be mindful creative practices like these ones. But if you are in a place where you do not feel good enough, where you feel you always have to change for everybody else, then these mindful sketchbook practices are exactly what you need to unwind, to break free, and to even settle stress so that you don't take that with you wherever you go. So, this is our little practice for today. I hope you can find it within yourself to flow, to give yourself positive affirmations. And if you do not know how to express yourself, to at least try asemic writing and make it a freeing, easy process where you notice the golden threads in your life and experience that thing that used to bring you joy, so that you not only find joy again, but that you know how to get there faster. Instead of taking detours or getting lost along the way, that you actually take a moment to stand back and see what it is you want for yourself. Making new choices very early in the day will give you the opportunity to fill that day with the things you want instead. And by the end of it, you will realize that you tamed a dragon, that you could walk across a bridge, that you were not a damsel in distress, and that every dragon that came your way became a kind-hearted friend instead of an enemy. There are so many ways for us to find flow and a golden thread of connection, but it's up to each of us to find that within.